Hey guys, how's it going? Happy Saturday. What's new in your worlds? Anything good? Just a second. Hey, happy Saturday. Good evening, everyone. How you doing? We'll get started here pretty shortly. Give everybody about 5 more minutes, 6 more minutes. I think we'll kick off at 9:30 Pacific Standard Time, so we got a little time here. What's going on, YouTube? What up, Twitch? How's it going, Mixer? Not on Facebook Live yet. Smontag, what up, man? How you doing? Good evening, my friend. What's going on, buddy? You have a good week? Hope you're well, man. Just giving a little bit of time. 9:30 is going to be our kickoff and actually get into this thing. Yeah, we're next step is going to be Facebook Live. That's just going to take a little bit more doing. Well, we're doing this today, and tomorrow's my day off, so I'm not going to do nothing. Basically do this and kick it, man. Every Sunday I take the day off. I think I'm going to be doing this lecture every Saturday until we get through the 7 principles. And then we'll dive into different topics. I think every Saturday we'll talk weird stuff. But yeah, every Sunday I take the day off. Sort of a religious thing, actually. I try to keep the Sabbath. Part of me is wondering if I should take my Sabbaths on Saturday, because I know that's the old school way of doing things. We'll see. I'm not sold on it yet. But my rationale behind switching it to Sunday is through some of my studies I've seen a connection between Saturn and dark forces, essentially. And you know, Monday is Moon's day, Tuesday, and like all of the 7 days of the week are based off of the 7 ancient planets. We didn't have Pluto and Uranus, I think. Those are the 2 that we did not have back in the day. Anyways, as it goes, Saturday is Saturn's day. In English, we took some of the Norse gods, like Thursday is Thor's day, based on Thor from Norse mythology. Most of the other languages actually have the words for planets for all of the days. Saturn's day, Sun's day, Moon's day. And if it is so that Saturday is ruled under the energies of Saturn, and if it is true that Saturn's energies are semi-negative and dark in nature, it's probably best to not be working with those energies. So that was my rationale to start switching my chill day to Saturdays instead of Sundays. Probably be better to... Because the sun, you know, like, that's probably good energy to work with, right? I know it fuels my days pretty well. Almost as good as a good cup of joe. We'll see. Couple more minutes here. 2 more minutes, we'll kick off. Well, what brought you to the lesson, man? What are you interested in learning? Consult a resource on that. Sure thing. I'll try and pull something up really quick, too. Seven days of the week. The days were named after the planets of Hellenistic astrology in the order of Sun, Moon, Mars, Mercury, Jupiter, Venus, Saturn. Feeling lost in your path. Yeah, I can understand that, my friend. It's an interesting place to be. Definitely an interesting place to be. It's very different than sure. Lost is very different than sure, isn't it? But I think both are necessary. Our next lesson is going to be about polarities. Saturn aligns with Earth element. Interesting. Very interesting. That makes me wonder. That makes me wonder. Because some of the literature that I've read suggests that Saturn and Satan have some sort of inherent connection. And most agree that Satan is, even the scriptures say that he's prince of the earth. And I guess it sort of makes sense that Saturn would have authority over Earth if they were somehow intrinsically connected. Lesser authority, though. IMO, as the youngins say. Alright, man. Well, let's get started. I hope that this can help you maybe find some traction or a little bit of guidance, or at the very least a better understanding of the world in which we live. So let's get underway. Earth also aligns with Earth. Very true. Yeah, astrology is not my strong suit. It's one of my more recent studies. I'm not... Actually, this stuff is as well. The Hermeticism is also a pretty new study for me. So today, we're going to be in our third principle. And the Kabbalion piece of literature that these 7 principles are laid out in pretty thoroughly says that sums up as the principle is that nothing in this universe, nothing in created or uncreated, is at rest. Everything is in motion perpetually. Everything vibrates. And we can see this manifested in our world pretty much everywhere we look. If you're looking at heat, for example, I have an incense burning right now. You know, heat and cold are on the same plane. They're opposites of one another. And for every degree forward in temperature, you're increasing in heat until it becomes a glowing orange, until it becomes a bursting flame, and even in the flames you'll notice the color spectrum where it's like blue and then green and all the way up into violet, and then out into vapors, you know, that misty haze that you can see above the fire, and then into a realm that is beyond our perception. Same thing with sound. There's essentially silence and your bass notes, and moving up the musical scale as the vibration of the string increases, like on my guitar. As I slide my finger up the neck, the tone increases because the shortening of the string length causes a faster rate of vibration when the string is plucked. And it will go higher and higher and higher until the peak frequency, which the human ear is no longer capable of hearing, but you know, like a dog whistle, a dog will respond to those frequencies, so there's something there. It's not like it's silence, it's only indiscernible. And it's funny that we knew this all long before modern science. Yeah, a lot of modern science is affirming ancient beliefs, which I find just incredible, just absolutely astounding that this knowledge was known literally thousands and thousands of years ago. Some of this stuff comes from Mesopotamia, like 2,000, 3,000, up to 4,000 BC. So we're looking at like 6,000-year-old knowledge on some of these things. Although the Hermetics trace their lineage back to Hermes Trismegistus of Egypt, probably about 1,000, 2,000 BC. But yeah, everything has this scaling vibrational thing. Everything in the universe. That's our core idea of the night, is that absolutely everything is in motion, is vibrating, including you, including your thoughts, including your emotions, including your willpower, like darkness and light. And we talked about bass and treble and cold and heat, and like there's these thresholds that you'll notice throughout these vibrational states where there's critical changes, where you'll be increasing the vibrations of heat, and then there's that point where it bursts to flame. And it will increase and increase in heat until it is like a blue flame. And then it'll literally be invisible, and you'll have to look at it through a special object. Same thing with light. Light will increase from a pitch blackness, pitch darkness, total absence of light, into a point where you'll need an X-ray machine to see the frequency waves that are there, the vibrations that are there, but indiscernible. And with ice and water and steam, at an incredibly slow rate of vibration, H2O molecules are not a solid. Everything is in motion and vibration. If you looked at ice under a microscope, it would be moving, but it is as what we know as ice. And once it reaches a certain threshold of vibrational change, there's that critical mass, and it becomes something completely new, yet the same. And now we have water. And we continue to increase its vibration further until it has another critical mass change, and it becomes what we know as steam. Same thing with my fire. First I lit it, and it started to glow, and now I have smoke rising up into my room, and that smoke will dissipate into nothing, not nothingness, but into something beyond my perception. And this is true of all things, including our emotions. That anger is a certain movement. It's a certain frequency. It's a certain oscillation or vibration of the human spirit, of the human will, of the human mind, of the human emotions. And these things can be manipulated by us at will. And that's really going to be our take-home for the day, is a little bit of an exercise of how we can use this principle and the understanding that it exists to our advantage and to our betterment. This includes even things such as gravity, as magnetism, as chemical affinities and molecular attractions, masculine and feminine forces. All of these things have their own individual vibrational states. Our next one, which we're going to get into next week, is polarity, but that all things are dual, and all opposites are essentially reconciled into one singular, that there is always left, and there's right, and they are both just horizontal description. There's above and there's below, and they're both truly, in their essence, vertical description. There's in and there's out. You know, and where do those combine? I'm not so quite sure, but they are one and the same. And spirit and matter are on the furthest ends of the spectrum from one another, but they're essentially the same thing. And darkness and light are on the opposite polar expressions, but are in essence the same thing, only differing by degree, only differing by its vibration, only differing by its frequency. And we as human beings have a very incredible power. With our minds and with our will, we are able to shift these vibrations. Just like we can play a string on a stringed instrument and adjust its pitch by increasing or decreasing its frequency, we can do that with our own thoughts. And it sounds more complex than it is, but a simple example would be is if you are in a state of incredible frustration or anger, you simply take its polar opposite, being love or peace, and focus your mind on it, focus your willpower towards that. Because as we talked about, that the universe is mental, everything in this universe originally is thought. This computer was at first a thought in the mind. This broadcast to you, I first dreamed up. Our automobiles, our airplanes, everything first is an idea. And we can change the reality around us by adjusting these frequencies using our willpower as the force that makes the shift. And another observation in this universe is that not only does everything vibrate, but their vibrations, no matter what form they are in, radiate out into the world around them. An ice cube will essentially be radiating that cold around. Like if I touch it, it's going to affect the external world. It's going to affect my hand because that cold is capable of influencing its immediate space. Same thing with heat. I can light a great bonfire and stand near it, and the heat is radiating outwards. If I turn on this light, it doesn't just stay inside my bulb. It lights the whole space. It expands outwards. This is true of all things, all vibrational frequencies. With sound, I pluck a string on my guitar, and the sound in waves radiates out to the audience, or out, even if I'm in my room, just to my ears. And having in mind that this is true of all things, including your thoughts, including your emotions, this is how telepathy works. This is how intuition works. This is the science and the methodology behind the scenes of when you get that sense about somebody who's not safe. You know, where you feel a certain feeling, and then you check behind you and you see the individual who is radiating that feeling out to the world. Or empathy involves a little bit more soul, I think, than this, but empathy is one of those things too. Even if you don't know what's going on and you can't see any facial key markers or anything of that sort, sometimes you can intuitively sense something is not right with my friend or my family member. You know, you just know, like, something devastating happened. Why are you so sad? I can just sense this supreme sadness just radiating off you. Or when something wonderful happened to somebody, and you don't know something great happened, but they're just not even smiling. They're just, like, radiating a joy. Radiating a peace that the whole atmosphere feels and responds to. If you learn to feel those frequencies, you can see the bigger picture of things. If you learn to feel those frequencies, you can see the bigger... It is a bit of a way to see what we can't see. I was actually just telling my fiance earlier today, because I'm practicing certain things and starting to do so on strangers, or with strangers, not on them. I'm not doing anything to you guys, but I'm testing these things in public on people that I don't know. And it has proven to give an interesting insight into the behind the scenes of people's minds, which is a place that you really should not be able to see, right? You know, I can't see inside my own mind. I can't see inside your mind. But there are energetic radiations coming off of people based upon their current experience, based upon their emotional state, based upon their current thought processes. Yeah, and once you can sort of pick up on those things, it really gives you an insight. You don't even need to ask questions. You can just tell. And women, if you're out there, you know when a guy is having a lustful thought about you. Nothing is said. You don't even catch his eye movements. You can feel him behind you looking at your ass. You know, like there's a certain energy, and like when you're feeling watched, a simple thing like feeling watched, and you just know somebody is watching me. I can sense an energy coming from an individual entity and affecting my aura, affecting my space, affecting my own energies. It is kind of like an early warning system. It's a fantastic, amazing piece of intuition, and from my own personal experience, it actually seems to, well, nothing really violates anything, but for simplicity's sake, it seems to be beyond time and space. Many, many, many times I have friends all around the world in different emotional states and life phases, and over again there will be times where an individual will come into my head or into my heart, and I'll just get these sensations about the person, you know, these inklings, like you really need to call them, they're having a really hard time, or you know, they just somebody you haven't thought about in forever. Like I don't really want to get too far into it, but 3 days ago my friend shot himself. 4 days ago I thought about him, and I never think about this guy. Never. We didn't really have a falling out, but there was no reason to spend time with this guy. And I hadn't thought about him in years. I hadn't thought about him in years, and 4 days ago he popped into my head so strongly, and I really felt like I needed to call this guy, and I was just like, you know, I don't really wanna. Next day he had killed himself. And when I was a little boy, it was Christmas Eve, and we were going sledding down this amazing hill, and we went down once, and my sister's hat flew off because we were hauling down this hill. It was great fun, and because it was such a long driveway, like 2 miles, I mean, this is an amazing sled ride. My cousin was picking us up at the bottom in a car and driving us back up, and because she lost her hat on the first trip, he was going down, he was going to find the hat and meet us at the bottom, and at the top, I just knew, I just had this sense that something terrible was about to happen, and we ended up going sledding and turned this corner, and my cousin had parked the car because he was looking for the hat, and my sister just crashed into that car so hard and suffered some very, very serious injuries. She's okay now, thank God, but it was almost as if the trauma that was to come was felt before the trauma arrived. One of my best friends, his oldest sister was killed by a family member when he was very, very young, and I've heard from the mom, Debbie, I love her to death, but she just knew before allowing her to go on this trip that she should not let her go on this trip, that something horrible was going to happen. And I don't know if you have had any experiences like this where you sort of have a precognition. It could be about something good. It could be about hitting a lottery ticket, you know? Like, I remember a simple thing. One time I was sitting on my bed. I was holding a hanger because I was trying to clean up my room, and just sat down on my bed. And I just knew if I throw this hanger into my closet, it's going to hook onto the thing, onto the clothes hanger or whatever. I've tried many times since to duplicate this event. I've never, ever gotten my hanger to hook like this. But I just knew. You throw this hanger, it's going to hook right on, through the hanger, right onto the thing. It was amazing. Everything that has been, is, and will be rests within. The Fifth Element's a great movie. Everything that has been, is, and will be rests within. I think that is partially true. I mean, there's so much depth in that. Everything that has been and will be rests within. Well, it is absolutely true that we form our own reality. And our language has a lot to do about that. How our reality is shaped to ourselves depends heavily on our communication and language chosen to describe our worlds and ourselves and our relationships, on our jobs and our family relationships. We have a certain language to describe our lives and ourselves and our thoughts and our beliefs and our internal world is expressed through language, body language, physical language, and radiating emotions and thoughts and these vibrations. And yeah, foresight is not out of the question. I don't think so. I really don't think so. I really don't think so. I've had enough experiences with precognition to at least think about its possibilities. And with our law of vibration, it makes sense to me. I'll try and help it make sense to you, but to me it makes sense that these vibrations can be picked up, you know, just like a heat. If I put my hand over a flame, I can feel it on my hand. If the flame gets big enough, I'll burn my hand. If same thing with light. If I have a small candle, you know, I might have to get really close to experience any light. And now I've got halogens and studio lights and all this shit, and the whole house is lit up. Same kind of thing, of an incredibly powerful force of love, or of hate, or of fear, or of peace. It's like an inferno. You know, it's the difference between a candle flame and a raging inferno. Havoc Wreaker, hello, how are you, man? You're wrong, but I like ya. No. Just look down. My name is actually written down in my description. So, but yeah. Anyways, it's the difference between a candle flame and a raging inferno, right? It's the difference between, since everything in this universe is subjugated to the law of vibration. This includes your emotions. This includes your thoughts. This includes your dreams, your aspirations, the motives of your heart. All of these things are going to have the same sort of cause that light has. It radiates outwards. The same kind of thing that heat has. It radiates outwards. The same kind of thing that sound has. It radiates outwards. All things expand, including your thoughts. And we live in a day where things have been dumbed down and simplified. Now, some of you, maybe not all of you, have heard of something called the law of vibration. I'm sorry. That's what we're talking about. That's the real one. You've heard of the law of attraction with, like, The Secret, with Bob Proctor and everything. There's something to that, but you'll notice it's not on our list of Hermetic principles. It's a simplification of things. The law of attraction basically states that like attracts like. Sad people attract more sad people. Happy people attract happy people. Rich people attract rich people. Poor people attract poor people. You feel wrong. Yeah, almost. Almost. I mean, not really, but good try. I appreciate your bold, intuitive move there. 1 second. Choke this down. About 5. There we go. Anyways, what was I saying? Ravbud, Ravix, hello. Greetings. Hope you're doing well. Happy Saturday, man. What up? Okay, anyways, the law of attraction is a simplification of these kinds of things. It basically states that like attracts like. But what is really happening is the law of vibration is in action. And the law of polarity. Again, it's a simplification of multiple laws. You just say it's the law of attraction. There is no law of attraction. It's the vibrations that you're putting out into the world that responds to all things, just like my flesh responds to the heat, just like my eyes respond to the light, also to the cold, also to the darkness. Both ends of the polarity here. So too does the universe, also made of mental. All is mental. Also, all is in motion and vibration. The vibrations of your belief systems are influencing the space around you, are influencing the people around you to give you or not give you opportunities that you seek, to to bring jobs or relationships into your life that you want or don't want. If it's the, you know, what you put out there will come to you. It's sort of karmic in its essence, but what's really happening is the vibrational states. Things are seeking harmony with one another. There's certain notes in the musical scale that work with one another and blend with one another harmoniously. Just like love and hate are on opposite frequencies. They're in constant discord with one another, yet they are the same, but they're at such opposites on the spectrum of one another that there's no union and harmony. They are in discord. And people who are in angry states of mind, thinking violent, venomous thoughts, are going to attract violence, are going to attract venomous relationships. You know, people who are sitting in a place of I'm poor, I can't make the money, I can't make these bills, I can't afford my tuition, I can't. There's an old saying that says, a man who believes that he can and a man that believes that he can't are both right. And it's because they are both putting out a vibration based upon their willpower, based upon their mental processes, based upon their belief systems. All of these things. Remember, as we talked about a little bit earlier, that cold and heat are the same. Just different vibrational states on the spectrum. Like left and right are the same, just different vibrational states on this horizontal spectrum. Inner and outer is the same, but different in vibration on the that abstract dimensional spectrum. Same thing with the soul and matter. This material corporal experience, all tangible things, poop robot hello, are in their core essence the opposite of all things spirit, all things etheric, all things energetic. And they are reconciled in the middle. They are the same. This is when you hear people say, I'm on the left-hand path, I'm on the right-hand path. The left-hand path is base, is darkness, is matter, is hate, is cold. The right-hand path is heat, is love, is light, is treble, is soul. And then you'll hear people saying, well, I'm on a middle path. I take the middle path. This is, they mean I'm harmonizing and transmuting. You might have heard this term, transmuting, with the Philosopher's Stone, where they would take base metals and try to make it into gold. This was an allegory for taking matter and lifting it spirit words, to take hate and move it towards love, to take darkness and move it towards light, to take cold and move it towards heat, to take fear and move it towards courage. This is true transmutation, which by the power of will we can put into operation at our choosing. Here's a question. Do you think black people are mad that everything black is considered negative? I don't consider everything black negative. I don't think most people consider everything black negative. I think you watch too much television, my friend. Fuck the news. Those people are bastards and they're manipulating your minds. In fact, I sometimes prefer darkness to day. My keyboard is black. It's fucking sexy. It's a beautiful computer. I like black women. They're beautiful. I like black guitars. I think they're sleek, man. I like limos. I like Hummers, like black Hummers and fucking Bentleys. Sexy black Bentley, dude. I don't know where you're getting that information. I don't think everything black is negative at all. Do you think everything black is negative? Full Metal Alchemist is a baller anime. This is true. They transmog the shit out of stuff. It's true. That show actually touches on a lot of esoteric principles. So does, like, Doctor Strange, I think is the new movie out, or new superhero. The night is beautiful. White is God and black is Stan. I know what you mean, Satan. It's something kind of like that. I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced that God and Satan are the same, but on opposite ends of the spectrum. Now, here is the Hermetic idea of God, of pure spirit. Even the scripture says that, and Jesus says that the Father is spirit. No one has seen the Father, not even the Son. Hi, Mort. Welcome. Because the Father is spirit. Now, the Hermeticist believes that he is pure spirit, or it is pure spirit. The universe, it's not the universe. Despite modern thinking, this philosophy does not teach that the universe and God are one. For the all is mind, and the universe is mental. However, the true all, the ultimate source, is not the universe itself. And I'm not going to get into that tonight. That's a topic for another day. But the idea of God under this philosophy, speaking in terms of vibration, is pure spirit, completely devoid of all matter, of all base, of all darkness. That a world, a tangible thing that I can express it to you, is a wheel on a car that's going so fast, around and around, it's in motion so quickly that it appears to be at rest. Does that make sense? That it's an audio sound vibrating at such a high frequency. God damn, this fucking green screen pisses me off. It just changes on me all the time. That, what was I saying? Shit. Black Friday, Black Sheep. Black comedy. Dark comedy. Well, dark comedy. I've never heard it called black comedy. The only thing I can think of is black metal, and black metal is epic. Darkness is not black, and neither are human beings. We live in a polarized society by design. There are designers, there are social engineers, and they have built a world based upon the principle of divide and conquer and order out of chaos, which is written on your dollar bills, to polarize people. If you get people to believe that there is only left and right, pick a fucking side, you'll have a division that's powerful enough to keep people in a state of violence and confusion and bitterness and resentment and jealousy and etc., and on and on. They don't realize that we live in a world of vibration, where hate and love are only the same thing, where Democratic and Republic are only the same thing, where white and black and Caucasian and African are fucking human. Any like blood person could tell you that. If they look at the genetics of a Mongol or a Chinese or someone from Malaysia or from the Congo, they can't fucking tell the difference. Now, an anthropologist who's looking at bone structure can say, well, the bone structure says it's this kind of person, and they can tell whether it's male or female. But the blood, the essence, is human. Period. We're getting a little off subject here with these questions, Poop. I'm going to continue on with the vibrational thing. We can do open questions at the end of this. Now, transmutation, the Philosopher's Stone, base metal and lead to gold, is an allegory for turning love into hate. I'm sorry. Well, you could do it. That's reverse transmutation. Preferably, you're going to use these skills to take the things that you hate and learn to love them. Maybe it's yourself. Maybe it's, you know, whatever. Maybe it's black things, Poop Robot. You can, by force of will, you can raise the vibrations to their polar opposites. First, you have to define what the opposite is. You can't take left and make it above. You can't take within and make it dull. You can't take soft and make it bright. You can make bright to dim and dim to bright. Sharp to dull and dull to sharp. Love to hate and hate to love. You can't mix up your polarities, or you're just going to get nowhere. If you are experiencing a jealousy, you need to find the opposite of it, which is acceptance, and there's a term now called compersion, and move it towards this. If you're experiencing a hate or a loathing towards something, you need to, well, depending on what it is, all these things are good and fine in their own right and necessary complements to one another. You can't have bright without dark. You can't have sharp without dull. You can't have smart without dumb. There's nothing wrong with dumb people, or, you know, simple-minded folk. They're in beautiful harmony with the ones who are world changers, Elon Musk, geniuses kinds of people. Does changing the nature ruin the balance of the universe? This is sort of a yin-yang harmony discussion. That ties in. I don't think that it ruins the balance of the universe. Everything is in balance, except for us. Everything in this world seems to be in perfect harmony and balance, except for us. And we are very good at destroying the balance of the ecosystem, the balance of the economy, the balance of our emotions, the balance of our world perspectives, the balance of our emotions and thoughts, like this whole, what's up with this black, white, hate, love thing? That's a design thing. That's a social construct that's forced down people's throat because they're sitting there on Facebook 24 hours a day and tuned into news channels 24/7, getting told what to fucking think. It's not a truth at all. But they're using it to polarize people because there's an agenda. They're dividing and conquering. They're going to produce a new world order out of the chaos. It's planned. I'm not going to get into the conspiracy theory of the global plot for a new world order, but their plan in a very simple form is to use polarity to get people absolutely divided down the middle, and then they'll bring order into chaos. First you make chaos, and then you bring order. That's the plan. That's why we live in a world where black is evil and white is good. It's not true. It's a construct to shift people's consciousness into a radical opposite from one another, so that brother hates brother and neighbor hates neighbor and friend hates friend. It's sad, but it's the world that we live in. You can fight it, though. You have willpower, whether you like it or not. Now, marketing and advertisement has gotten to a point where they tap pretty heavily into your willpower. You might think, I decide to go to X restaurant to eat today. I'm going to fucking punch this green screen in the face. But odds are you didn't. Odds are your willpower was manipulated through years of saturated advertisement to make a decision not in your best interest, to eat food that's not healthy for you at a restaurant that you don't even like, that doesn't serve any good purpose, with no nutritional value whatsoever. But know that you do have willpower, and with it you can not just change your world, but change the entire world around you. The green screen looks good. It kind of gives me a third eye thing. Yeah, I don't know. It's tricky, man. Whether it's day or night, or if lights are on or off, or if I shift one way or the other, it's constantly changing itself. It's fine. There's so many different light variables that fall within the frequency. You change the frequency by one, and the whole, you know, setup for the green screen has to change. It has to be adapted to the new vibrational state. Same thing to the world around you. If you come out of a fear state, even if it's by a single degree, The universe around you will have to conform to this new temperature. And again, I want to retouch on the thresholds of change. There is no fundamental difference other than vibrational state between an ice cube, water, and steam. But there's those points of critical mass where a fundamental change in its nature happens. Where it's an ice cube, it's an ice cube, it's an ice cube, there's a glacier, 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 and then you get to this point of frequency where it's melting and now it's become water. And you keep increasing that vibrational frequency and faster and faster and faster, more molecular movement, and it will break out of that into a whole new stratosphere. Now we call it steam. Everything is subjugated to this law of vibration, including your thoughts, including your emotions, including what dwells in your heart. And it radiates outwards to the world around you. If you are cultivating fear within you, cultivating doubt within you, I can't do it, it's not going to work out, they're going to leave me, I'm ugly, I'm unworthy, all these bullshit thoughts that you've been cultivating are going to spread, and they'll reach a critical change, or I'm sorry, you can elevate them until you reach this point of critical change where this ice of your fear becomes water. Like, you know, you're fucking batshit terrified, and you start moving it in degrees towards courage, and now you're shitting your pants scared, and now you're scared, and now you're afraid, and now you're nervous, and then you're calm or neutral, and then you move towards courage. But there's this threshold where you go from petrified to calm. You've changed natures, you've changed states, and the universe will bend around you to that new state. Because it is just like we said with light radiating outwards, sound radiating outwards, heat radiating outwards, all things expanding into their material space and etheric space that exists in proximity. So too does your thoughts, subjugated to the same law of vibration, and they will all reach these critical points of change where they go from a bass, from silence to bass, to treble, to unheard of, like a dog whistle. There's that threshold where you can't fucking hear it anymore. There's that threshold of heat where it is just a misty obscuration of your sight. You know what I'm saying? When it's like, you know what I'm saying. Same thing with your emotions. From fear, you'll hit this threshold where now you're in a state of calm. Totally different fucking universe. Totally different self. Totally different results as you carry this new form into this reality. And then you'll hit a new threshold. At some point, by degree, by degree, by degree, by step, by step, by step, you'll hit a new threshold where you are courageous and bold and fearless. Up to fearless. I would say fearless is probably the extent of that threshold. But all these things almost go into infinitum. Same thing with love and hate. You know? They all are on this vibrational scale that we can adjust degree by degree, hertz by hertz, tone by tone, where we loathe, where we vehemently despise, where we hate, where we dislike, where we don't really care one way or the other, where we're apathetic, to where we like it, to where we very like it, to where we love it, to where we are ecstatically jubilant over the goddamn thing, you know? It's all the same. Love and hate are not so far apart, but they can be reconciled not immediately, just like we were talking about last week on the correspondence as above, so below, that your internal world will reflect your external world, that the body, you can even see it in my hands, my body manifests first the thoughts of my mind. The mind thinks first what I am going to say, what meaning it has, and how I want to express it out to you, and my hands do this fucking crazy thing almost outside of my control, seemingly outside of my control, because first of all, everything starts in the mind. The all is mental, then the correspondence, As above, so below. What happens first in the mind then pours out through the body. What happens even in the higher realms, what happens in the spirit, then enters into the mind. What happens into the mind then enters into the body. What enters into the body then enters out into the world. And all these things are under a subjugation of vibration, be they what state they are. And you, as a human being created in the image and likeness of God, have a willpower, which you, at your own will, at any point in time, you can exercise this. You can change the vibrational state of anything. And I don't think that it will disharmonize the universe, robot. It will change it. It will change you, and it will change your environment, and it will change the people around you, and it will change the universe. But that's up to you. Everybody has free will. You have the freedom to use it as you choose. You have the freedom to dwell on that horrible fucking night when you were betrayed. And frame it in a way that, you know, you are worthless, where you're not valuable, where if God exists, how do we have free will? Because we were made in the image and likeness of Him. That question, I don't really understand the correspondence between existence and will. I want to understand. If God exists, how do we have free will? I don't really see a connection between those two things. Or how an existence of a creator being means there could never be a free will. And if there is a will, then there could never be I don't understand the idea there. I say this: for us to have free will, wouldn't He have to not know what we were doing or choose? For us to have free will, wouldn't He have to not know what we are doing? No. No. 100% not. In practical terms, you can know, like, let's see, how can I put this? You can know that your friend is going to rob a bank. He's expressed to you, I'm going to rob this bank, and you can know that, and you know he's going to go rob this bank. He still has the free will to do it, whether you know or not. He could keep it a secret and just go do this thing in private and secret, and you never knew it was on his agenda, or he could tell you his agenda, at which point he influences you to activate your free will to either stop him or not. That's up to you. But knowledge of an action or knowledge of something doesn't affect the will of something. So if I'm going to do something like, oh yeah, I'm going to go take that candy bar. Either I'm going to go in and take that candy bar and you don't even know about it, or I'm going to tell you I'm going to go take that candy bar and then I'm going to go in and I'm going to fucking do it because I have free will. Whether you know or not, I have the free will to act. It's sort of both hats. It's sort of both hats. Just like light and darkness are the same. Just like heat and cold are the same. Just like left and right are the same. Just like in and out are the same. Just like matter and spirit are the same. So is free will and not free will the same. Both are rectified by this. Both are... all paradoxes reconcile. All paradoxes reconcile with the law of vibration. It's both at the same time. There's a whole picture, and then there's your picture. Both are true. There's a big world and there's a little world. Both are a universe. Both are true. It could be an illusion, but it's a damn fucking good one, and I'm in the middle of it, and I can use it. It could be an illusion. In fact, I suggest that this entire world is an illusion. Because if I take a microscope and I look at any object, including my hands, including this table, anything that looks to be extremely tangible, like a weight, you know, a big fat iron lifting weight. I can take this thing under a microscope and see that it's not still. This is not actually a giant still solid. Nothing is solid. You'll see you'll see vibrational particles. If you zoom in far enough, you'll see atoms. You'll see protons. You'll see neutrons. You'll see things in orbit around each other. You'll see particles bouncing to and fro and moving at speeds that boggles the mind. It's not actually a solid heaping mass of iron. And note this, that because everything is a vibration, the human language is incredibly fucking powerful. When we speak, we project out into this universe vibrational forces, which are the fundamental foundation of all existence. And this goes beyond our words. All of our thoughts send out the fabric of reality. Did you get that? Our thoughts emanate out the fabric of reality, because the fabric of reality is energy condensed to a vibrational state, be it gas, liquid, or solid, be it steam, water, or ice, be it earth, fire, air, or water, or spirit. Hi, Max the She. It's a good day. Today is a good day. It's good to meet you. How was your day? Happy Saturn's Day. I think I'm going to start doing these lectures on Sundays, because I don't really feel like working on Saturn's Day, honestly. Something's compelling me to switch it up. Anyways, that's neither here nor there. It's a good day, Max. How are you, my friend? We're wrapping things up here shortly. I want to try and get you guys to understand transmutation and give you practical exercises to put these things into your life, and suggest some of the changes that are going to come to you if you do so. Let's take something very practical like finances. Very, very practical, right? We live in a fucking world where you need money. Straight up, money talks. Money pays the bills. Money puts food in your stomach. Money puts a roof over your head. Money gives you the transportation to get to your job, where you can get your money to... It's a vicious cycle, but we need it, don't we? So, let's talk finances for a minute. If it is so, and I propose to you that it is, that everything in this universe is a vibration, and including money. Money is an expression of value. This currency system that we have is a vibrational material object. It's energy reduced to a vibrational solid of a bill, but now it's sort of an etheric thing. It's a digit on the internet. You know, you can just go into your account and delete some numbers or send some money this way and that. There's no actual tangible. It's energy. Right? It's going through wires, it's going through satellites, and changing hands, and disappearing, and appearing, especially if you have, like, direct deposit. It's just, boop, it's there now. Boop, it's gone now. Now, if it is so, and I propose that it is, that everything is vibration, including your thoughts, belief systems, goals, ambitions, the things that you dwell on, the things that you pursue, the things that you spend time pondering, the things that you imagine. If you live in a world or mindset or emotional mindset that you can't, that you're poor, that there's not enough, that you'll never make it, that money is scarce, that the bills will not get paid, etc., and on into a financial negative disaster, it will come to you. Because you are that bonfire that's heating the outside world. You are that light bulb that's lighting the outside world. You are that candle. That's your soul. That is you. You are a spirit being with a body, a spirit being with a mind. You have the power and will to use this body as you see fit, to use this mind as you see fit. And yes, you live in a world that wants to take control of this on your behalf and tell you that they know better than you how to use this bitch. They fucking don't. They have used this bitch to control yours. You can take it back. Little tangent. But if you, by degree, Now remember, you're not going to go from money's scarce to I'm a fucking billionaire, a mindset. You have to be like, okay, by degree, money is scarce, money is rare, money is uncommon, money is about equal. Like I'm breaking even to, oh, I'm getting a little bit more, to money's just coming in, to wow, what excess I can just generously give and not really stress about it. These vibrations of your beliefs, the vibrations going out into the universe of I'm poor, will fuel poverty in your life. The vibrations of I'm ugly, they're going to leave me, I'm not worthy, are going to manifest that into your world. Because, just like the light, just like the cold, just like the sound, just like everything in this universe, it radiates out and all creation responds to it. So be careful what you send out into the world. Take a moment and analyze what is my emotional state? What vibration is this emotional state? Is this an ice cube? Is this water? Is this steam? Is this bass? Is this, middle? Is this treble? Is this darkness? Is this twilight? Is this day? Are these metaphors making any sense to you guys? Is this matter? Is this etheric? Is this soul? Is this poverty? Is this flatlined? Is this riches and wealth and affluence? Simplistically, is this dull? Is this blunt? Is this sharp? Especially with your relationships, guys. If you have core beliefs about yourself that you're shit, that you're unworthy, they will pick up on that. Your relationship partners will pick up on that and eventually leave you. Because you're sitting there saying, they'll leave me, 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 I'm worthless, I'm worthless, I'm worthless, I'm worthless. And eventually that vibration is going to get picked up by their vibrations, and even those thoughts. This is how telepathy works, people. This is the science of telepathy. When people are putting out energies, be they positive or negative, we are spirit beings. I don't know I don't know the name of the device, but there's a device that can take pictures of the electrical aura or field around a human being. We all have an electrical circuitry, a field that actually goes out, I can't remember the distance, but a certain space around the human body, and this energy can be incredibly expansive and receptive to energies around it. That's when somebody walks by you on the street and you get a horrible fucking feeling about them. Because you don't touch, you don't brush shoulders, you don't even come in that close of proximity, but just this energy exchange behind the scenes happening, you think, oh god, dude, that guy's like a murderer. He's done something horrible, and you just get this like, ugh. Like you just want to like brush off your spirit because it's just like, oh, I felt something evil or angry or violent or malicious or sick or twisted off that person. And somebody else will walk by you, and you're just like, and we live in a world where this one doesn't happen as frequently, sadly, but sometimes you'll walk past those people and just like, God, they're confident, they feel good, and you that brushes off on you a little bit. For me, that happens most at like the airport. For me, that happens at the airport where like I'll come home and there'll be a military man who's been on duty in a war zone for 6, 12, 18 months and is coming home for the first time to meet their firstborn son who they've never met, who's already a year and a half old. Those moments where the feeling is radiating off these people and you don't know what's going on. I mean, clearly there's a reunion here, but that feeling, that vibration is affecting every fucking person that walks past that gate. Pride. I like this concept, but does it have to do within reason? Example, I want to be a cyborg reptilian that can shoot lasers and teleport. Anything you put your mind to, man. What up, raccoons? Welcome to the stream. We're wrapping things up here shortly. Dude, we live in a crazy world. If you really wanted it, you could go get a robotic arm. If you wanted it, you could inject some reptilian blood into you. I don't know why you would, but I'm not I'm trying to keep this pretty realistic. This is a little crazy, bro. But you could shoot lasers if you really wanted it. If you really fucking wanted it. Straight up, the Wright brothers really fucking wanted to fly, and they built the first airplane. Okay, Ford really, really wanted a horseless carriage, and he built the first car. Now, everything happens by degrees. He didn't build a 747, okay? He built the Wright brothers flying machine. He didn't build, you know, a 2018 Porsche. He built the Henry Ford Model T or whatever, right? And then by degree, over the years, advanced and advanced and advanced and advanced. Same thing, dude. You're not going to just be a cyborg reptilian who can shoot lasers and teleport, but if you are fucking passionate about it enough, of how I can turn a person into a reptilian... Like, you ever seen that show? Or that guy who tattooed scales all over himself, got his teeth filed out, got his eyes altered and his ears clipped and stuff. He wanted to be a reptile so fucking bad that he started to manifest behavior that brought it as close to as possible into reality. Same thing with the tiger guy. He truly believed he was a tiger inside, and he truly believed that he needed to express this out to the world. It just happens that way. Your core beliefs, this is what we talked about last week with the correspondence, the as above, so below, the as below, so above, the as without, so within, the as within, so without. That these guys at a deep level, I am a tiger, I am a fucking tiger, I am a tiger, I am a tiger, and then it starts to move the body. The as above, the mind says, I am a tiger, the body starts... Years and years and years of repetition of this core belief moves him towards tattoos, moves him towards cosmetic surgeries, moves him towards implants. Okay, like if you want fucking lasers, you'll find a way. It's not beyond the realm of possibility. Can I become God? No, you cannot become God. But you are a creative being. The scripture says that in Genesis, the first chapter of Genesis, he goes through all the creations, the 7 days of creation, making basically void, making I don't even remember them. Like day 4 was like the sun and the stars and everything. Then he made birds in the sky and fish in the sea, and then he made all the wild animals. Then he made us. Now the one thing he did different with us, according to the scriptures, is he breathed into man's nostrils and infused him with the Spirit of God. So you are not even Christ now says Jesus, when they're gonna kill him, and he's like, why are you guys killing me? And they're like, well, because you keep saying you're God. And then he quotes from the Psalms, and the Psalms even said, you are gods. The scripture says you are gods. You are not the creator being, but you are infused with the creator being. You are not. It's all paradoxes can be reconciled under this thing again. This one's a little bit. This one takes time to process. Let's just put it like that. This takes some time to process. You have God, or you cannot. You can be light, or you can be darkness. They are the same. They're both, you know. You can be hot, you can be cold. They're both temperature. You can be left, you can be right. They're both horizontal. You can be sharp, you can be dull. They're both expressions of sharpness, or you know, of cutting ability, whatever. You cannot be God. You cannot be greater than God. You are lesser than God. You're like a fractal of God, let's say. It's as if I take a bonfire, right? I take a bonfire and then let a spark fly out from it. You're that spark that's flown out from it. So you are the essence. You are the same as. There's no difference from the fire of the bonfire and the fire of the smoldering flame that's drifting out from the source. But it's not the source. That's about the best I can give you. Is that kindling that exploded out from the fire and is drifting out, you know, up into space? You guys ever do like a kick-ass bonfire with your friends at the beach and you get that crack and just and little particles start to drift out and stuff? And just the flame itself has those little wisps you know, at the peak, that break off of the core flame. God is that core flame. You are flame. Also, you are God. You are the spirit. You are the same fucking thing, but you're separated from source. And you can never be greater than source. The source creates you. The excess doesn't create source. That's about the best practical example in this world that I can think of on the fly to express how we are God and we are not God, and how your answer is yes and no. You are God. Even the scripture says that ye are gods. In fact, let me look it up right now so I don't misquote this. Actually, I want to give you this one. Here we go. It is in Psalms. Psalms 82:6. Okay, Psalms 82:6. I have said, you are gods. You are all sons of the Most High. From the Bible. God speaking here. I said, you are gods. You are all sons of the Most High. You are not God, but you are all gods. You are all sons of the Most High. Like, it's like a king having 6 sons, or 7, let's say 7 sons. A king has 7 sons. All sons are princes. All sons are royal. All sons are in the palace. All sons have the treasure of the kingdom. All sons have access to the politics and the influence and all these things, but they're not the king. Yet they are of the blood of the king. Yet they are of the prestige of the king. If the king was to send the prince to do something at another nation, you would think that the receiver in that nation would treat the son as if they were handling the king himself. Because whatever happens to this prince is a direct reflection upon the king who he represents, who he's from, who he's blood with, who he's family. And Psalms 82:6 says, I have said, God speaking, you are gods. You are all sons of the Most High. So, the answer to your question, Poop Robot, is you are gods. According to God, you are gods. But in the same sentence, you are sons. Sons of the Most High. Not the Most High. And again, the best tangible example I can give you is with the bonfire, where the bonfire is the source, and the sparks flying off are still fire, but they're not source. And they come from source. They don't produce source. But they can produce new source, right? If that kindling breaks off and lands into some dry grass or something, right? It can start a new inferno. And this is where you can use creative force, where you can adjust vibration to change the world and be a creative being. Genesis says that we're made in the image of likeness of God, and he's clearly a creative being because this fucking universe is incredible. Toking a lot of weed, that's okay. Working on being the Most High. Good luck, man. Yeah, I was stoned for like 15 years straight. Been sober for almost a year. Good luck, man. That's about all that I could do for you on that one. Let's see what we can wrap up with. Just remember that everything is vibration. And there are thresholds of change. Just like ice to water to steam. Just like kindling to flame to smoke. Right? Just like hate to neutral to love. There's these thresholds where it changes into something entirely different. Yet the same. Yet the same. They're on the same plane. They reach this vibrational shift where it's not ice anymore. It's water now. Yes, it's still H2O. Yes, it's still an emotion of like or dislike. But it's no longer hate. Now you've reached a threshold where you're neutral about it. It's no longer neutral about it. Now you've reached a threshold of you love it or you're passionate about it. You can do this for events in your past that are driving you fucking nuts that you can't get over. Moments of pain, moments of betrayal, moments of fear, moments of anxiety. You can transmute by degree. Increase their vibrational state towards their polar opposite, and it will change your world. It will change everything around you. Just like a bonfire heats everything around it, so too do your ideas heat the world around you. Even your deep emotional states heat the world around you. You ever have somebody that's so depressed walk into the room? You don't even need to know that they're depressed, but suddenly your mood just drops. You know, like you're feeling pretty good and somebody comes in and it's just like, and you just drop to this like, oh man, I'm fucking sad all of a sudden. It's because it's radiating out from that person to a level where it's more powerful than your will to maintain your current state. Anyways, if you guys have any questions, I think I'm just going to open it up. We've just about covered everything here. I guess in closing, just remember, if you weren't here last week, with the law of correspondence, that the things that happen in spirit then enter the mind. The things that happen in mind then happen in body, and the things that happen in body then happen in our external worlds. If you go back up the chain and start to affect these things with your free will as your strength, you change your thoughts, you change the vibrations of that negative thought towards its positive opposite. Same thing with masculine and feminine. They're the same. They're gender. They're sex. They're creative force. Both. But they're polar opposites. You can move these things towards their polar opposite. Your resentfulness towards acceptance. Your bitterness towards your... I don't know what the opposite of bitterness is, but you guys get what I'm saying. Test this out. Test this out. Take something that drives you nuts. Take something that, when that thought enters your head, it drives you crazy. Hi, Kevbo. I'm good, man. We're just wrapping up here pretty shortly. Just about to open things up for general questions. You find that moment, find that memory, find that emotion that's eating your soul, that's stripping you of your life, that's taking your energy, and transmute it degree by degree towards its polar opposite. And you'll find that the external world will change around you, that your circumstances will change, your relationships will change, your core outlook will change, you will change, the universe will change. We are very powerful beings in a world of intense manipulation. You can take your power back at any time that you see fit, and you can use it in whichever way that you see fit. And I would encourage you all to use it in ways that cultivate love, that cultivate forgiveness, that cultivate peace, and love between us, man, because it's rough out there, and it's rough in here. We live in a world where it gets very rough in here, and that makes it very rough out there, and it's very rough out there, which makes it very rough in here. That's the law of correspondence. As above, so below. As within, so without. As without, so within. We live in such a violent, vehement, sexualized, etc., reality that it affects our internal world, and our internal world is so confused and lost and bitter and resentful and angry that it manifests into the outside world. We're in this vicious cycle, and you can't change the outside world without changing your internal world first. It does work both ways, though. Like, you could clean your room. If you're feeling disorganized in your mind, if your mind's scattered, clean your space. You'll probably find that because your mind is having a hard time consolidating these ideas or structuring these thoughts, you'll find that your room is probably cluttered. Your house is probably not in order because your house and your space is reflecting the positioning and reflecting the state of your mind. And you can help the state of your mind get organized by cleaning the space around you. It works both ways. It's a two-way street. You can organize your mind through willpower, and you'll find that you're just going to start cleaning your space and put things where they need to go. Or you can start by putting things where they go, and you'll find that your mind starts to organize things better. Chabu, what's up, man? All I can see is titties and money these days. Dude, we live in a hyper-sexualized money, success, fame, glamour, pussy, money, power, fame. We live in a world, especially with media, man, that just pushes that shit down our throat like McDonald's hamburgers, like Starbucks coffee. And it is tough to fight. My encouragement to you, again, remember, all these things happen in degrees. You're not going to go from lust, from a lust-filled individual to absent of lust. It's going to happen in degrees. You're going to go from a porn addict, obsessed, looking 6 times a day, to a porn addict looking once a week, to, you know, going some months, to putting up your ad blockers and shit, to I'm off of it and I don't need to look at porn anymore and I really don't get that turned on by these crazy lustful thoughts for women. In fact, I feel like fighting them. Or, you know, I gotta have money, I'll do whatever it takes, I'll rob a fucking bank, I'll kill somebody on the street and take their wallet, because it's that fucking important to me, to, you know, like, I'll rob a 7-Eleven, to, you know, I'll rob my mom, I'll steal from my family's bank accounts, to, I found this money on the street and I need to probably bring it to a police officer or something, or, you know, an envelope full of cash, and it's just like, somebody needs this more than me. It's not going to happen overnight where you go from bank robber to a fucking philanthropist that's giving away billions of dollars to Africa, okay? Everything happens in degrees, so have some grace on yourself. Have some patience with yourself. Know that every day, one step, who was it? I think it was Sun Tzu. Was it Sun Tzu or Confucius? One of the two said, the journey of 1,000 miles starts with a single step. You just got to start taking one step, man. You can never just, you can't go from the starting line to the finish line without running the race. You know? So have some patience with yourself. Have some grace on yourself, but start cutting the influences that are feeding you those thoughts. If you examine your life, examine the music that you're listening to, the television shows that you're watching, the media that you're consuming, what you're following on Facebook, what you watch on YouTube, start to just take a little inventory. Maybe even write it down. There's something about writing things that really helps us externalize. It's that as above, so below, as within, so without. If we do an external manifestation, it will have an internal shift, even if it's subtle. But take a little inventory. Where's this primary lust coming from? Is too much MTV? You know, it's coming from somewhere. And a lot of it can be within as well. We can cultivate these things within. This is a big struggle for me as I cultivate things I know I shouldn't be cultivating, and they really just stem from a heart desire that is not in my or anyone's best interest. So I have work to do too, man. I need to start, like we were talking polarity and vibration, primarily vibration today, and it's like you can't go from on a rainbow, okay? On a rainbow, you've got violet on one side and like purple blue on the other side, right? You can't, if you're trying to get from blue to red, you can't just be there. You know, you have to go through orange. You have to go through yellow. You have to go through green. You have to go through all the trillions of different variations of color on your way through to the other side. And I gotta tell you, the other side's just as unbalanced as this side. So try and find some happy medium. But I totally believe in God, 100%. I've seen some crazy shit in this life. Straight up miracles. I went to India for a couple weeks once upon a time. Never seen anything in America, though. Never seen anything in America, but I've seen some crazy shit. You have the alcohol, but then it is the next day, and I'm hangover and smoking cigs again. I feel you, bro. Jehovah, the God of the Jews, and Christ, who I actually believe was him incarnate. I feel you, man. I actually just quit smoking 8 months ago. I'd been stoned for about 15 years straight, smoking every 45 minutes to an hour just to get through my days. And especially with my construction jobs, is smoking about a pack a day since I was 18. So, and I'm 31 now, so about 11 years of smoking a pack a day and being stoned constantly. And what got me to stop was a mental game. Actually, Mort is here. Her and I went together to a Tony Robbins weekend. And I have mixed feelings about Tony Robbins, but something happened at that weekend that helped me quit smoking. I'm going to share it with you. We did an exercise. It was like a 4-day thing. And we spent the first like 3 days there building this optimal future. Getting really excited about feeling it, smelling it, tasting it, seeing the view from your beachside sexy-ass resort apartment, right? You know, tasting all the best foods, feeling the ride in your limo or whatever. Whatever your dream life is, that's a little excessive. But to illustrate the point, you really started to build this great life in your mind. And you spent like 3 days building this thing. So by, a couple days in, when you're doing this for 11 to 15 hours a day, it was pretty solidified. And on the third day, we did this mental exercise where you're going to that future, you're feeling it, and then this rubber band catches you. And it was like, okay, 5 years in the future, 10 years in the future, 15 years, like all these positive changes have happened. How different is your life in 35 years, 40 years? How fucking different is your life with these changes? Tremendous. Like, oh man, I'm all these great things, just stacking up emotion, stacking up excitement. Then 3 days into it, we got caught with a rubber band kind of thing. Like, suddenly, you're in it, they don't tell you they're going to do this, and like, suddenly this rubber band catches you and pulls you back into the present. I'm like, okay, so you're kind of imagining. Now remember, like we were talking, guys, with vibration, everything moves and is at rest, including your fucking thoughts. Your thoughts are just as tangible and powerful as the things around you. Everything around us first started in the mind. So your imagination is a tool for tremendous change. It's a catalyst for your willpower. Go back to childhood, man. How fucking real was it when you were imagining being attacked by 100 bad guys in the backyard? You had to beat them all up and they were fucking there. Okay? And when they hit you, it hurt. I don't know if you guys played like I did, but I fucking played some Ninja Turtles in the backyard and it was rough shit. Hundreds of them. Hundreds. But anyways, get pulled back into the present, right? Now, you don't make any changes. Nothing changes. You leave here, you leave this event, or you leave this place, and nothing fucking changes. In fact, you continue smoking, you continue drinking, continue whoring around, you continue stealing, you continue whatever, right? Whatever it is that's got you by the balls right now and is fucking up your life stays the same. And all these changes that you've been stacking for 3 days of mental exercise and imaginative game are no longer there. Now, 5 years into the future, 10 years into the future, 20 years, 30 years. Are you alive? Are you even fucking alive? Are you in prison? Are your parents dead? Is your sister dead? Do you have a fucking hole in your throat? Are you speaking through a fucking machine? Are you alive? What's your financial account? $1,000 in debt? $10,000 in debt? $50,000 in debt? And you go from being, man, I got $50 million in my account, I own 6 properties, I got a resort going on, bringing residual income, I'm a published author, my band's doing good, and you build this shit in your head. It's like, man, 30 years down the line, 40 years down the line, life is looking fucking amazing, right? I got love, I got abundance, my family is good, my health is good, I've exercised, I'm buff, I'm sexy, and then it's like, shit, man, I'm fat, I'm bald, I got serious asthma problems, I'm an alcoholic, I live with my sister and her husband, I binge on video games and Doritos, and I'm suicidal. And it scared me, dude. Honestly, this exercise scared the shit out of me. Spending 3 days building a dream future where it's like, man, I don't smoke anymore, I don't drink anymore, I don't struggle for money anymore, I'm not watching my parents suffer anymore, I can pay for their medical bills, and it's not even a problem. Right? I can give them the vacations that they want, and it's not even a fucking problem. They're healthier and better than they've ever been. I'm healthier and better than I've ever been. 30 years down the line of the same old shit, it's a totally fucking different universe, man. Totally different universe, and it became very real, especially when you get involved in this mental game and feel the effects. Your imagination is powerful. You know, because you've had something shitty that happened in your past, and every time you go back to it in your fucking mind, your heart breaks. You feel that pain. You feel what it was like in that moment to get stabbed in the back by your best friend, or to get left by the love of your life, or to be called whatever he called you or she called you, right? You imagine it first, and it pours into your fucking body and becomes a very, very real experience. Your mind can't discern between reality and imagination. At least your subconscious mind can't. Your subconscious mind is subjugated to all mental experience, be it true or false, or be it tangible or intangible. It's not necessarily a true or false, but if you just... That helped me, man. I haven't smoked in like 8 months. I don't think I'll ever smoke again. Weed's all out of the house. Again, I'd been stoned for like 15 years straight. I like needed it to get through my days, to do my music, to maintain my social circles, everything. And yeah, dude, you can do it. You can do it. You're a very fucking powerful being. You're a spirit. You are a soul being with a body. You are a soul being with a mind, and we live in a world that tries to teach you and train you to forget that you can use them. So, oh yeah, I did a ton of psychedelics. Acid, mushrooms. Never did like DMT. Did salvia a bunch of times. Salvia was crazy. And I did psychedelics for the reason of trying to understand myself, for trying to understand the nature of reality, and with the understanding, no, I don't recommend it, not at all. Not even a little bit. They're interesting experiences. They're not, you know, all the literature was like, it was totally life-changing. I did ayahuasca, and I was a totally new man, right? I don't think so, man. I don't think so. You have these, it's like a dream. Psychedelics are like a dream, where you'll come out of it, and you'll write something super profound in your journal and be like, oh, everything's so different now. You really just fucked up, honestly. You really just fucked up, and you had some crazy experience that in some ways is real. Just like we're talking about with imagination. These psychedelics are going to make your imagination go fucking haywire and take you to mental realms that are just as real as the real realm. Because everything, everything is a vibration. But remember, with the as above, so below, these cognitive shifts are going to start pouring down into your body, which is then going to pour out into the world. And some of these drugs are going to elevate you to spiritual planes. And these spiritual encounters are going to start to flood your mind. And then the mind flood is going to start to flood your body. And you're going to start to manifest certain things that you may or may not want in your life. I have found that mushrooms is the most random experience in the world. That you have no control. Acid is a And I'm not condoning any drug use. I don't recommend any of it. It didn't help me understand myself or the universe or the world that I live in. There were times where I thought I had a better understanding, but within a week it was gone. At best a month. You know, it's like a dream. You wake up from it and it's gone. So, acid is just odd, right? Yeah, it's just weird. It's like this. Now, right now we're talking about vibration. Acid makes vibration very real. At least in my experience, it really raises your frequency and you start to become attuned to the vibrational state of the universe. It's very, very obvious when somebody comes in a negative vibration. It's very, very powerful when you feel a bond or connection with somebody because that vibration is tangible. You can taste it, you can smell it, you can hear it, you can touch it. Like, but you don't need it, man. You don't need that shit to figure this stuff out. You can look at the world around us. The world around us is full of these beautiful lessons to help us understand where we are, what we are, who we are, and why we are. So, I don't recommend it, man. Thanks for asking, though. That's just from my experience. Everybody's got to take their own path and life choices, but I don't recommend it. I don't think... If you're in this talk, I think I know what you're after, and it's not there. Because I was after the same thing. I didn't find it there. Despite all the readings and, you know, everybody says that's where it's at. I didn't think that was true. But yeah, I know a couple of you guys came in late. To sum up the day, we pretty much talked vibration, that everything is vibration. If I took a microscope, I looked at my hands, it's not still. If something more solid, let's say I took a dumbbell from a gym, right? A fat brick of iron that's very heavy and not gonna break or move easily. If I look at it under a microscope, it's not still. It's full of particles. I've seen a couple episodes. I haven't watched anime in some years. It was good. I liked Brotherhood better than the original. Good stuff, though. But okay, so we're talking transmutation today. That's basically the foundational principle of this vibration talk is mental transmutation. That with our law of polarity, which we'll get more into next week, but we've actually kind of covered. With our mental talk and our vibration talk, when we diagnose the polarity of what we're going through, like you probably want to take these and have these experiences because you're lost, because you're confused, because you know, you can sense that there's something more, but you can't see it, taste it, smell it, touch it, or anything like that. So you need these elevating factors to try and get a real experience of what's really fucking going on out there. At its essence, it's a lack of understanding, I would say, or a confusion. The opposite of that is a knowing, is a certainty. Would you agree? That the opposite of your current state that's causing you to be curious about these things would be certainty and knowing. You can find certainty and knowing without these blast-offs. They won't get you there. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction, and to throw yourself from one pole to another is going to cause a massive amount of imbalance for years to come. That was my experience. Tremendous amount of imbalance. You basically imagine that you're sort of at this pendulum equilibrium, even if it's cocked to one side. Okay, right now you're over on the not so sure about things side. Rather than degree by degree, like a clock moving towards its proper 12 o'clock hand to ding that bell, right? Rather than move it degree by degree, you just decide to throw that bitch over to the other side. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. And this pendulum is going to swing and swing and swing and swing until eventually it finally balances back out. But that's a rough ride, dude. This is a rough ride that I don't recommend to anybody. It takes a tremendous amount of mental fortitude and spiritual fortitude just to fucking survive. This is the ride that breaks people. People break. You know, this is the ride that takes years to balance out, where finally you're back at some sort of level playing field. But it's a much better way to take a trip of 1,000 miles. Rather than shoot yourself out of a cannon, just start walking that way. Just take one step that direction, and you'll be a world closer to it. Okay? And one step closer 1,000 times, you'll be there. It sounds tedious and annoying, especially in the world that we live in, where we want instant gratification. We want our problems solved right now. Just start moving that direction. You'll get there, man. You have time. You got days. You got minutes. You got seconds. You got breath. You have life. You can use it to work towards these things, to grow these things. You can't plant a seed and then grab the corn. You plant the seed, it sprouts, you have to cultivate it, you have to grow it. As it starts to grow, you have to keep the bugs off of it and fence it in so that insects, and you got to keep it in a proper climate so that the cold doesn't destroy it, and that the heat of summer doesn't squander it. And if it's cultivated and loved and nurtured and grown over time, you'll have a corn stalk with dozens of ears of corn, each little kernel of which is capable of growing a whole nother stalk, right? And multiplying 100-fold. But it takes time and effort to get that corn. You can't just plant and pick. That's what the narcotic psychedelic method of trying to figure this universal shit and ourselves, our internal universe and our external universe. Both are connected. And I feel you, bro. I've been there. I want to resolve both. Where the fuck am I? Why am I? And who am I? What am I? Right? It's both. Outward and inward. Above and below. And those psychedelic methodologies is to take a fucking cannon and shoot yourself west and pray that you land in Bangkok. It's much better to just plot your course and start moving that direction. And make adjustments as you need. You know, stop in Hawaii on the way and say, what island is this? Oh yeah, okay, I gotta keep going that way to Polynesia. You get to Polynesia, okay, where do I need to go to Bangkok, right? And you'll get there. You will get there. If you blast yourself out of a can, you're probably going to drown in the Pacific. So, that's the best I got for you on that one, though. It can really mess up my mind, especially with the alchemy stuff. Yeah, true that. Well, they exaggerated a little bit. The alchemy, we talked about a little bit earlier. You know, the old alchemists were they were trying to turn lead into gold, right? That's what all the stories say. All the alchemists were trying to turn base metals into gold. That was an allegory for what they were really talking about. It was a metaphor for something entirely different. They were not trying to turn lead into gold. They were trying to turn hate into love, fear into courage, anger into kindness, right? It was an internal shift. They were trying to take base metals, they were trying to take base material, base low-level chakra shit. We're talking like a root chakra shit, sex drive, just raw sex, raw aggression, this really radical chaos force, and turn it into a heavenly thought. Raising it towards heaven, to take these things and shift them towards some sort of cultivation, right? Thanks for that follow, Chabu. Appreciate that, man. Hey, the 4 bits. I didn't even see that. Oh, I didn't even think that pride was bits. I appreciate that, man. Thanks a lot, Max. Not sure if you're still out there. And the host. I'm sorry, I got a little distracted from my stuff over here. There's so much going on. This whole streaming world is sort of new to me. It's fun though. But yeah, real transmutation is taking that moment from your past that eats your soul alive and turning it into a moment of your past that catalysts you towards a phenomenal future. Right? Real transmutation is taking the mental seed that is locking you in to an addictive personality set around tobacco products or alcohol, nicotine and alcohol, and transmuting it into the freedom, into the liberty of being self-sufficient, to being, that it's tough to describe addiction. It covers all levels. Addiction really can burrow in, man, like a weed. And first it just starts as a physical thing, then it becomes a mental thing, and if it goes long enough, it can burrow into a spiritual thing. Just like with all things. All things are subject to this vibrational law, guys. Including your thoughts. Including your habits. Just like the food that we eat. First, it's a material, tangible. Then, as it processes through the body, it becomes it processes it by degree and breaks into its energetic form, which we then fuel into our lives. Certain foods are going to give you certain energies, and certain foods are going to cause you the lack thereof. Same thing with thoughts. And again, I know some of you guys are just tuning in. I just want to reiterate that just like fire radiates out towards the world around us, that I can be near a bonfire and feel its effect upon my body, right? I can turn on a light and it's not just a self-contained thing. That light radiates out towards the space and illuminates a space much greater than the source itself. You are like that. Just like a sound, right? I pluck a string on my guitar, and it radiates out and fills the whole room. It fills the whole crowd, right? The whole audience can hear this string, because it's radiating outwards. Like when a drop of water lands in a puddle of water, it expands outwards and influences the entire pool. This is how telepathy works. This is how you are affecting your reality and your relationships with your core beliefs. That if your mind is operating in a addictive sense, you'll pull people into your lives that are addictive instigators who are also into the same things. Right? I had to quit my job. Straight up, I had to quit my job because I knew the power of osmosis. Osmosis is essentially a fancy word for vibration. Osmosis says that you will essentially become the byproduct of the 5 people closest to you. And it's not because, 5 people close to you have let's just say it in the affirmative. This is because when you spend time with people, their energies affect you and your energies affect them. Your thoughts affect them and their thoughts affect you. Their habits affect you, your habits affect them. So choose who you spend time with. And I had to quit my job because I've known those people since I was 15 years old. I've been smoking weed with them since I was a boy. I've been smoking cigarettes with them every single day on the site for 10 years. I know all of them very intimately. I know their mental states. I know their emotional states. I know their habitual daily practices. And I had to just separate myself from that because I knew I didn't have the strength to fight the osmosis or the vibrations of 15 people around me for 10 hours a day who are all on the same frequency. You get what I'm saying? You have to pull away from that frequency lest you be consumed by it. Anyways, we've pretty much covered everything here, guys. Pretty much covered just about everything here. You guys got any further questions? I'm pretty much willing at this point to just open up questions. We can talk about anything you guys want, whatever you're going through. Mort, I noticed earlier on that you said it's hard. It's sometimes hard. What does that mean? It's sometimes hard. Oh, well, I guess if you're still there. Is anybody out there? Let me know if you guys have any questions. I'm going to give about maybe a minute or two for questions to come in. Or comments or whatever. We'll get out of teaching mode. Oh, okay, here we go. Just when a certain emotion, memory, or belief is pretty overwhelming, it's hard to try to take the step towards the opposite. One thing that you can try is rather than take one step towards the opposite, to see the destination and let the destination pull you steps towards it. You know? Does that make any sense? So, rather than... You can't see it in your head. You don't look at it on a map or anything like that. You just say, I'm going to go to Thailand, right? I'm going to go to Thailand. And then you just look in front of you and you take one step. That one step, you don't really know which way you're going. You can't visualize the destination. You're not really sure which way it is. And you're like, it's hard to take this one step because I don't even know. I'm totally uncertain about this thing, right? If you... Even better, from hate to love, right? If there's somebody that you hate and you're trying to love them, somebody who's done you wrong and you're trying to love them, rather than try to think, how could I just hate them a little bit less? How could I take one step away from how much I hate them? See the final goal. See the final goal of embracing them, of giving them a hug, and saying, I forgive you. The final product. That this doesn't... We've actually talked about this in private. If somebody does absolutely something horrible to a child, right? Or something, or like some weird family shit, you can forgive them, and you can find love for them, but I'm not saying you should ever let them be alone with your child ever fucking again. I'm not saying anything like this. But if you hate somebody and you're trying to love somebody, it's a lot easier to see holding them in your arms, taking them out for a drink or lunch, and saying, I love you, I forgive you, and I just wish you all the best. Sincerely, I wish you a tremendously good and happy life. It's easier to just make it up in your head, imagine that final day where the final product comes, and you're not going to just be there, but just cultivating that final destination will start to take you step by step towards it. You can't think one step. You got to think final product, and your body will start to take one step, one step, one step till it gets there. You know what I'm saying? So if I'm at this side of the spectrum, I'm trying to get to this side of the spectrum, but my focus is right here. This is a much harder step to take than to, like, this is the step that has to be taken, but this step can't be taken unless this destination is understood. That's probably the best way I can put it. You have to take this step, but it's way harder to take this step if you can't see here. So see here, and you'll just find that it will start to pull you that way, and those steps are just being taken behind the scenes, and you don't even really see it happening. I hope that helps. With memories especially, memories are over with. So you can either, if it's a certain memory that evokes a certain feeling of anger, or jealousy, or self-loathing, or some negative thing like that, if it's a single memory that does that, find a memory that invokes the opposite. If it's a memory that makes you feel totally insecure, find a memory that makes you feel absolutely secure. If it's a memory that makes you feel totally jealous, Find a memory that makes you feel totally confident. The other alternative is to face the memory that is creating the emotion and try to transmute that emotion into its opposite, using that memory and sort of reframing it in a light where the story is different, where the outcome is different, where rather than this is the moment that destroyed me, this is now the moment that catalysted me into my best self. Or, you know, this, rather than this is the moment where I learned I could never fucking trust anybody in my life ever again, this is the moment where I learned, you know, it's important to have a better understanding of people before I give them my utter trust. And it's your frame on that memory that's creating the negative emotion. It's only your reality that's making the effect. It's only your perception and beliefs about the thing that's creating the, how did you phrase it? The overwhelming effect. I'm sure it's an overwhelmingly negative effect, be it fear or anxiety or something of that nature. So you can either, as I said, you can either reframe that memory so that it produces a different outcome, where, like, one of my relationships was totally devastating, and for the longest time I said, this is the moment I learned that none of my friends are my friends, where love is bullshit, where, you know, etc., down the line, and it was just this totally negative, I'm worthless, she's a bitch, they're all assholes, blah, 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 and that was my story to myself. That was my reality, and I breathed it and loved it. Or I hated it, but that was reality. Now I can see that exact same memory, those exact same moments, hear those exact same words, and it no longer produces those thoughts. I've managed to, over time, gradually, degree by degree, step by step, transmute these things into their opposites. Now I can see this was the moment where I realized who my real friends are. This was the moment when I realized what not to do in a relationship, right? This is when I realized that I can love somebody who does something horrible. That you know, it's like, it's the same memory. It's just not overwhelming anymore because my story about it has changed. It used to be the end of my life, and now it's the turning point of my life towards an amazing future. And again, the other strategy, just to reiterate one more time, is if you're having a hard time changing the frame of that individual moment, find another moment that is the opposite. So if you have a moment where you were worthless, find a moment where you were the MVP. Then, when you find that moment where you are incredibly, irreplaceably valuable, feeling like a queen or whatever, take a moment and capture what is happening in your mind, what's happening in your body, what's happening in your soul, on every single level. How is this opposite affecting me? And then kind of go back and forth. Go back to the moment that fucking sucks and destroys you. Then go to the moment where you're elevated and lifted and feeling incredible. And see what's the difference here. And you have the power to capture either one. You can capture and embrace and grow and thrive and dwell on the shit that you are having difficulty reframing. Or you can capture and frame and grow and cultivate the moment where all is right and epic. Or, you know, you could let the shit reframe that great moment and be like, oh, you know what, maybe that great moment was just a big bullshit lie and I wasn't actually that special, I wasn't actually that important, and it will start to eat away at all these good moments, all these good memories. Or you could work it in reverse and take this good memory and get it to eat away at the bullshit and reframe that shit into something positive and good and healthy and wholesome for you. I hope that helps. Any other questions before I close up shop here? I think best case I'll give you guys another half hour. Anybody out there got anything they want to talk about? It's pretty much open territory right now. Hit me with what you got. Any old thing will do. Give you guys some minutes here. Probably give about 5 minutes. See if anything comes through. Hope y'all are doing good. Thanks so much for hanging out. Much appreciated. Hope you're having a good one. How about that music, huh? It's kind of relaxing. It's under the surface, nice and subtle. I dig it. Again, I'm going to run these lectures every Saturday. At least that's what I say right now. Not a good idea to be drinking that. It's probably not. What is it, water? It's just water. Pink grapefruit. 0 calories, no sweetener, no caffeine, no sodium. I think it's just carbonated water. Why is this a bad idea? It's just carbonated water. It's gonna give me cancer. It'll probably give me cancer if I believe it will. I heard this story about a guy who had terminal cancer, and the doctors convinced him that he'd taken this epic placebo that was just destroying all cancers. Oh no, it's not a rock star, it's just water. But he was told that, here, take this pill. It's an experimental medicine, top of the line. This stuff's very hush hush. We're about to get it patented, but this is like a miracle drug, right? This is gonna fucking save your life. He gives this placebo. For guys who don't know out there, placebo is basically a sugar pill. It's like, here, here's this amazing medicine, and you give them a little bit of sugar in a capsule, and it's not anything but that. But their mind can influence their internal and external worlds. Their mind can be so influenced by this event and belief, the true fucking belief that, oh my god, I just consumed the miracle, right? As above, so below. The mind starts to change into, I'm healthy, I'm getting better, things are gonna work out, I'm gonna live, the cancer is leaving my body, right? And their mind starts to manifest that into their body. As above, so below. Once the mind has made a decision that things are improving, my health is, it will start to come, and this guy, his cancer fucking disappeared. Miracle, right? Then it was published. It actually was a thing, but they didn't give him the real shit. Then there was a publication in a newsletter that he somehow got his hands on, and it showed that this new medicine that was supposed to be the miracle cure actually didn't work and didn't show any actual true success rates of curing cancer. He read this article, and like a week he was dead from cancer. It went from not even detectable, totally out of his body, to more rampant than ever, and killed him in a week. Based upon a fucking belief system. So let's be careful about what we dwell upon. Let's be careful what we think, what emotions we chew on and swallow. Because we can make poison, and we can eat it, and we do very regularly. And we can make cures, and we can swallow it, and we don't do it enough. Any other questions out there? What you guys got? What you guys got going on? We had some good conversation tonight. Robot, I don't know, something about that kind of threw me off there for a while early on, though. It's like the way he was framing those questions was just felt a little trolly. Honestly, this is like, bro, chill out, man. You're throwing me off my game. I'll give about 2 more minutes. We've been going for a couple hours now, so I think maybe 11:30 we'll cut this off if you guys don't have any more questions. If you don't, that's okay. Hope you have amazing weeks. I'm gonna play some video games probably. Might switch up the stream, so anyways, hope y'all are well. Right on, man. Doesn't look like any more questions are coming through. I'm just gonna give you guys, I know some of you can't type as fast as I can. Like, check this out. I can type really fast. So fast. You didn't even see that coming, did you? I know with the delay that's not even gonna fucking translate, but I know some of you guys are peckers, like one-fingered peckers, so I'm just give you a second. And wish you all well. God bless. Hope you had a good time. Rav Bud, I see you still lurking out there. Hope you're well, man. Alright, well, I guess that's it for the night. We'll be back next weekend. We'll be talking about rhythm. Rhythm is a good one. Rhythm is a good one. So, have a great week. Be careful what you think about. Be careful what you wish for. Use your willpower to cultivate what is good. Use your willpower to transmute things into their positive opposites. Anyways, guys, that's it for me. I hope that you had a phenomenal time and learned something. I know I always learn something talking through this stuff with you guys, so it's just as much for me as it is for you, but it's always a pleasure to be here with you guys and answer your questions. If you do have any, this is going to be my last call. And, yeah, if nothing comes through in a minute or two here, we'll shut things down and switch modes. Thanks again for hanging out, guys. Alright. Signing off.